this little life. Think I like this little life.
Hey guys, and welcome to Little Black But Another One. We're talking to you guys about Clay and Celina Powell. You guys requested that I should have my say on this topic, and let me be honest with you, okay? I'm gonna go deep with this. Have you ever been in a situation where, you've been emotionally disconnected in life, that sex becomes the only form of connection you actually can make? Maybe you felt like sex was the only way that you could feel something. Relationships were nice, but it didn't really satisfy you. Sex is where you got your kick. Sex is where you got your desire. Sex is where you got your wanting. Sex is where you got your feeling of being pursued and craved. Maybe you're somebody who's also been in a place where you just moved on instinct, and sex was a part of that instinct, where sex was just fun, where you just felt like you needed to feel something, and sex was the way you're going to do it, you wanted to put the pain aside. You wanted to numb the thoughts and the feelings that you have. And sex became that thing that helps you to at least feel something, right? It removes that feeling of emptiness for even about a few hours. Maybe you felt like you wanted somebody to crave you and to cuddle you and to show some type of affection, but only temporarily, because you weren't comfortable with yourself. The story of Clay and Celina Powell, she's an adult film star, but he's not the only adult film star apparently he was going after. Apparently it was other film stars he's gone after, another girl he went after. I'll put the evidence a little bit later. So this is a pattern now. This is something that he likes to do. And we spoke about this on the season with AD, that his intentions with AD were more sexual because he doesn't know how to connect emotionally. People like Clay have childhood wounds that have not healed, and until they heal, they continually persist on doing the same things. In fact, before you judge Clay, King David in the Bible had a similar issue. Because of his rejection in childhood, when his father Jesse could not remember that he was in a field, when King David became a king, he had multiple wives. And not only did he have multiple wives, he went and stole somebody's wife and killed the husband while he was at it. Because for David, rejection was too painful. And so therefore, due to that wound, he said, I will never be rejected again. I will make sure that I'm in a place of power and I'll have whatever I want. So the moment they told him he can't have it, he wanted it the more. Someone like Clay at this moment in time is at a place where the prodigal son was at. Give me my inheritance, I'm going to go out there. All right? And he's going to mingle and intermingle with the pigs and be in the dirt. All right. And he's choosing adult film stars like Celina Powell to have fun with because it boosts his status, it boosts his clout, but also at the same time because something about her responds to what's in him. What's in him? Well, emotional detachment, and a failure of emotional connection to self, and therefore the inability to connect with a human being, or let me say specifically women who are emotionally connected, is an inability to be vulnerable in that space. And because he fears doing what his father did, that's what he was talking about with AD. He fears commitment and monogamy because of what he had witnessed as a child, and he's now weaponizing that pain that he has within himself to take himself out to the field. Let me tell you this now. I can't judge him. I spent 3 years in the field, sex and everything I wanted to sex. So I'm not going to judge this guy. So if you came in for the video thing, I'm going to judge him. I'm not. If anything, I'm going to show him compassion, and I'm going to show you where he's coming from and why he's thinking the way he's thinking, because I know exactly what happens when you've got a father wound and you don't mend it and you don't heal it, and how you weaponize it. And when you want power, when you want to be liked, when you want to be desired, when you want to be wanted, when you felt like you have been alone for such a long time and people don't really like you. And if you watch the show, if you heard what he said, people don't really, he says when he dates certain women, do they really like him? He was asking that question because I don't think he even really knows whether he likes himself. And more than likely, when he looks in the mirror, what does he see? Because the disconnect that he had with his father, right? His father who came at his wedding and still made the wedding about himself, tells you a father who has not done the work himself to emotionally connect with his son in a way that his son will begin to learn how to heal from the wounds that his father inflicted by taking him on every route of every woman that he was sleeping with, and built up this distrust and nastiness, and caused his son to lie against the mother that he also loves, to cause him to even resent the fact that he's now looking at his mother having to lie. Do you know what that does to the psyche? Do you know what that does to the mindset of a man or a woman? But we're talking about a man here, right? Okay, now this is not an excuse, it's a reason. Okay, it's never an excuse, it's always a reason, right? The pain of not being married, right? We know that he didn't go all the way. That can also cause you to sync up with the wound of your past, that rejection that you feel. Because remember, he was chasing AD after. He thought by quitting the marriage, by not being married and pursuing AD after, because remember, I think he's afraid of being committed all the way. And I talk about commitment in terms of marriage because of what he had seen his father do. And he's afraid that he's going to repeat the same pattern. And he doesn't know how to quit that pattern. And because he doesn't know how to quit the pattern, he's afraid that he does not have power over himself. He doesn't trust himself. You see, the Bible talks about the gospel, and the gospel is a light that shineth in men, right? The gospel is the power to save. The gospel is the power to say yes or no. That's why the Bible says, choose whom you may serve today. The gospel gives you the power to make a different decision. Because whilst you didn't have the gospel, you didn't have Christ in your life, right? You didn't have the illumination, the revelation, the knowledge, the understanding in your life. You were underneath the powers of the elements. This is Galatians 3. You were underneath the powers of the elements, and you did whatever they told you to do, or whatever you felt to do, or whether you wanted to do what you want to do. The Bible says our flesh and our spirit begin to war against one another. So we make choices based on what we want. And sometimes what we want isn't what's best for us, especially when we've been trained in negative thought patterns. So when you are rejected as a child, and when you are neglected as a child, which he was emotionally neglected by his father, right? Okay. And you are pushed into scenarios where you are seeing things that you should not be seeing before your time, before you can comprehend it really fully, right? You find yourself in places amongst the pigsty. That's what I was for 3 years. I was in Egypt, bro, because I was wounded. I was sleeping with every woman I could. I wanted to conquer every woman. I wanted to feel something. I wanted to connect to them. And in fact, it got to a point where I stopped having sex and started having sex to connect. I started using sex as a way of emotionally connecting with people. I would connect to them with sex, and then I would emotionally draw myself with them, have conversations, get deep, but I wouldn't want a relationship. So I know where he is. I know with the film star situation, I know where he is. He's chosen someone like Selena. Maybe he's chosen her because she has low standards herself. Maybe he's chosen Selena because she's willing to also have clout and status from him. And it's not really that much from him because he's a lower status than her. I mean, he's getting more from her than she's getting from him. But maybe it's because maybe she feels like maybe this will be somebody that will love her. Maybe she feels like her brokenness, she can see somebody else who's also broken. Maybe he will care about me. Maybe he's going to get me out of the miry clay, and his love, because he's coming from a broken place, will maybe hopefully take me out of my broken place. Hopefully. You see, because everybody's looking for love, but not everybody can receive the healthy love, because a lot of times we have a broken train of thought. And so when we're receiving that healthy love, we have to sabotage it because we're not ready for it. It's too much. It's too good. And the goodness makes us look at ourselves and say, I'm imperfect. And it's the same thing with the gospel, because when we look at God and how he works with us, many people don't want to come to God because they don't like him. Number one, that's one thing. But other aspects is sometimes this God is too good and I'm too imperfect. You hear people say, I don't want to go to church because I'm going to burn up. Why? Because they see God as this perfect God, which he is. And they see themselves as imperfect, which you are. But the reality is the gospel presents Jesus Christ as the solution to the fact that you're imperfect, because perfection is not in you, it's in Christ Jesus who's in you. So now the situation of Clay and Selena, sometimes what happens, people are looking for their Jesus in a man or a woman, and they're looking to be saved, and they're looking for that living water. They're looking for that Samaritan situation where by the pool, and they can go by the well, that somebody would say, listen, I got living water for you. I got love for you. I care about you. I'm going to fight for you no matter what happens, right? We haven't got deep just yet. We ain't there yet, but we're 9 minutes in. I don't know how I got to 9 minutes, but we deep, okay? All right, we deep already, all right? So we got the next few minutes. Let me put my clip.
Deeper.
And by the way, listen, we do a lot of coaching right now. Listen, my diary is open. Click on the description box. If you believe that you feel like, I can help, listen, I'm the man for you. I'm here to help as many people bring revelation, understanding, and bring healing. We want to break the chains of those thought patterns, and we want to break the chains of generational learned behaviors, which people call generational curses. We want to break those things through now being able to speak to the experiences that you have. Because you see, where Clay is, or where you are listening to the video, maybe you're a man, especially if you're a man, please reach out to me. I want the men to reach out to me too. I have a lot of women, but men, if you're watching this, I'm not bringing shame to you. I want you to understand, I know what you're talking about. I know how you feel. I know where you're at. Okay, I was in that same place for 3 years, and all I cared about was sleeping with women. going out, sleeping with women, going out, sleeping with women, right? I felt good. I'm not gonna lie to you. It felt good to be in that space, but I was always empty and I was always void by the end, right? At the first year and a half or two, brilliant, chef's kiss. By the time I get to the third year, I'm tired, I'm laggy. I'm like, what is this? I don't want to keep going through this anymore. It's no longer sufficient. It's not enough. I want a relationship. I want to be loved. I want to love somebody. I want to care about somebody. I want the safety of a relationship. I want to be an honorable man. And a lot of times we want to be those things, but we look at how far that journey is to get into that place and we say it's too far. The Bible says to Elijah, eat because the journey is long. You and I needed to eat. Now, by the grace of God, I've come out of that place of Egypt, but we need to eat because you're in a place of slavery. You're in a place of bondage, and you are in a place of boundaryless behavior. Because you see, the reality of the situation with Clay is, it's boundaryless behavior that takes you to now an adult film star, which is more than one. There was another woman too, adult film star that wants you, that you want to start playing with them. Now, I'm not here to shoot him down. I'm here to say that nothing we say is going to change Clay's mind until he gets a revelation. Nothing's going to change his mind until he gets a revelation, right? Okay, so let's get a bit deeper, but I want to be able to. I saw a little something as well, because Celina Powell was not the only thing that he had an issue. I think he had a situation with another lady also. Called, I don't know what her name was, but yes, let me show you this clip as well, guys. Here you go. So this was also another thing that was happening. So apparently he's been on a few holidays with another adult film star, and she messaged, obviously, Celina Powell, said, B word, are you that pressed to tell me he flew you out? You couldn't post a finger of his if your life depended on it. And once I found out about you, guess who left that country and left you behind? Now cheer up, be grateful you got some D, go back to the hole you crawled out from. Because he said he was just in Belize with Willow Ryder, though. You sharing him with her, he's flying you out too. Okay? So apparently he was on another adult film star, Willow Ryder as well. So again, if that is the case, the reality of the situation is he's providing something here. Okay? All right. Selena didn't know he was vacationing in Belize. This man is a clown. I don't know why you're liking my comment on my man's post, weirdo. Your man, my bad. I was just with him all week in Belize. I hope y'all work it out. You went on vacation with him. He didn't claim you the same you didn't claim Bin. Like as friends, y'all effing lol, cause what the F. Okay, so Selena didn't even know that he was messing around, right? The reality of the situation is, okay, all right, these situations, people are looking for love, and they're looking for love in the wrong places. We found love in this hopeless place. Listen, but people are looking for love in the wrong places. Now with Clay, let's really break this down, okay? And maybe I'll definitely do a part 2, but let's break this down for Clay, okay? Here's the reality of the situation. Celina Powell, again, represents this adult film star. It's more than one. He's got Willow Ryder too, he had dealt with recently, and was playing the field of those two as well. Right? Now, he gets an enjoyment from playing women. Now, when I was in the field, I didn't want to play women. I want to just have sex, have fun, and I want to be honest about it. This is all I want. But he doesn't want to do that, because in reality, he doesn't want to be true and honest with himself, number one. And number two, he's afraid of that. When he does that, he will lose a relationship. Now, that's a boundary issue. When you struggle to feel, that's a self-worth issue, sorry. When you feel like you're going to lose something because you're telling the truth, and then you're afraid of that, so you don't actually do what's supposed to do, there's usually a self-worth issue, because you're afraid that they will leave you and your worth will suffer too. But if you have good self-worth, you don't mind saying the truth. You don't mind saying the truth, because at the end of the day, another of you will come. I'll have another you in a minute, baby. You must not know about me. We must not know about you, right? But because you're afraid, and you're afraid of not getting another, right? You lie to them. Wow. And also, some men like the destruction that happens between women when they're fighting each other, right? Some women like that. Now, I don't know. We don't know 100% it, but we do know Selena, by the evidence, apparently, allegedly, that, you know, she didn't really know about that, right? But he was I understand where he's coming from, right? So one of the things that was also really crazy about my time that I spent in the world was that, I wanted to treat women nicely. I wanted to treat them well. I wanted to do everything but commit in a relationship. I wanted to play a boyfriend without committing. Do you know why? Because I knew that I couldn't commit long term, because my mind was not there with you. I wanted the benefits of when I treat you like a girlfriend, but not be a girlfriend. I wanted your emotional energy to return back to me because I was wounded. And so this is where Clay is at. Clay's at a space where he's treating his girls, flying them out, treating them nicely, yeah, and he doesn't want to commit to them. But in reality of the situation, what he wants from them is their emotional energy. He wants their care, their love, and appreciation. But he's afraid of being vulnerable, and he probably doesn't like them enough to want to marry them or date them like fully and be thingy. Now, of course, he's done it with Celina Powell. We can talk about colorism if you want to. I'm not here to discuss that. We're here to discuss real, the real issues here that's going on with him internally, and I think that is one of the biggest issues, right? And so the pattern of his father is what he's exhibiting. Abraham and Isaac is an example. Abraham lied to Abimelech the king, and his son Isaac also lied to the king. Abraham's wife Sarah was manipulative and tried to bring out a child and got Ishmael, then blamed Abraham without being accountable. And then Rebecca also was manipulative and made Jacob receive the blessing instead of Esau. And then their son Jacob ended up being a trickster, but then ended up marrying someone like Rachel, who was also dishonest because she stole the items from her father, hid the idols from her father. And that's the one he loved. Patterns keep on happening. And until he's ready to face the pattern of his father, who was emotionally neglectful of him, and until he's ready to say, do you know what? I don't want to follow in the footsteps of my father. Until he's ready to say, look, I want to go a new way. Until he's ready to say, do you know what? This life isn't for me. Until he's ready to say, do you know what? I'm going to make something different. I'm going to choose different. I'm going to do different. Until he gets to that space, nothing is going to change. Because the wounds he's carrying, he'll continue to carry them because he's not healing. And see, when people are emotionally wounded, sex becomes one of the easiest things to live inside of. And that's where Clay is at. But I'm going to deliver that in part 2. I want to leave it here. Part 2, I'm going to break this down even more. So the problem with Clay dating Celina Powell is less about her and more about him. Why is it Selena is speaking to you? What is it about Selena that resonates with you? What is it that's in Selena that makes sense to you? And it's because more than likely she hasn't got enough standards and you don't have standards. Because you're afraid to have standards. And you're afraid to hold yourself to a better standard. You'd rather be in the dirt and the ground. Because then if you don't and you raise your standards, then you have to actually live up to those standards. And you're afraid because you don't trust you because of what you saw of your father. You're thinking that you're going to be just like your daddy. And you are being just like your daddy. Because revelation hasn't come. Light hasn't come. And you're choosing the same path. And I've been there when you're emotionally wounded and it leads you down that path. Down that immoral route. I didn't care if you had a girlfriend, I didn't care if you had a boyfriend. I didn't care if you were married. I wouldn't have cared whether you were single, whether you did. I don't care. As long as I got what I needed to get from you, that's all I cared about. The wound makes you selfish. That is why King David stole Bathsheba from Uzziah, because it makes you selfish. It makes you think about you and you alone. It makes you feel like I need to get what I need to get. The pain that I feel in my heart, I need to plug that hole, and I'll do whatever I want. You become an addict of sex, and that's what I became. For those 3 years, I became an addict of sex. Now, I studied it. I really did. I observed it. I studied it. I took some notes. I really was enjoying it in that season, but I really took some notes. I was like, I need to learn everything that's happening to me. I was very much conscious, but I was unconscious in my behavior. And I'm not proud of it. I look back and I go, that was crazy work. Now, by the grace of God, I've gone through it and he has taken me from Egypt towards the promised land. And I thank God for that. But let me tell you this, I don't want you to go through that yourself, because that place is a dark place. As much as you think you're having fun, you're breaking people's hearts, because as much as sex is free, it's not free, because people's hearts get entangled and entwined. And especially if people's emotions are involved, especially if you're taking them on dates, flying them out, treating them like almost like a girlfriend, right? I'm telling you, someone gonna catch feelings. And then you got to deal with that. And even if they don't say anything, people have caught some feelings. Or then you've got to be careful how you maintain that relationship. You've got to be at a distance. But it's a form of selfishness. And you're robbing yourself of the opportunity to be loved and to love. Because that's what you're searching for. Right? So we're going to drop part 2. Okay, again, listen, if you want some coaching, please reach out to me. My calendar is open. Book yourself in. Let's get the healing underway. Especially if you're a man out there watching this, please book yourself in. I want to be able to speak to you guys and you ladies as well. I want to see healing for my generation. And I believe the work that we do will bring that restoration as well. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. Click on that bell button for notification of uploads. We appreciate you. Watch.